Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Readiness. Preparedness.
Ready to rock.
None of these here at the John Peckman Podcast. I'm John Peckman, unprepared, unready.
I'm also unprepared.
That's right. John Peckman Podcast, Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. Come over the bridge, go through one set of lights, pull a Yui, park in front of the store. You can't miss us. Have your own podcast here in our beautiful studio. Come on the show with me. Be here. We are here today with Mr. Gray Fowler.
So great to be here, John.
Amen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Guitar player, singer, right?
Yeah.
We'll
Good place to start.
Start there. Yeah, we'll start there. Yeah. Great singer. Great singer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we would know you around about these parts. Tell us about your band. Because that's what reminded me. You were always on the list, and then I saw you posted a bunch of upcoming dates, and I was like, boom, that's right.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you inviting me to be on. This is fun.
Why not?
So, the current band is Last Licks.
Last Licks.
Yeah. Been together since, 2006.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah, we the band was formed. It was Bill Wilson's a singer from the area, Rocky Hill area, and Bill and I had played in a band together called Jet back in the, I don't know. He's gonna kill me because I get the dates wrong all the time. Yeah, but many years ago. But put it this way, we were 110 pounds soaking wet back then. You know,
so, weren't we all? Yeah.
Right. So, anyways, he had called me up with, he had connected with Steve Shore, the bass player from Crier, AKA, and we put a band together, and it was all about just rehearsing and getting together and having some yucks and loving the music that we love and trading war stories and all of that. You know, that's the fun part, right?
Yeah.
And so and then things started to come together, started to feel really good, and we took the band out, started playing some little hole in the wall places in the area, and then and then sadly we lost Steve after about 4 years to cancer, but it was fascinating that came out of that whole experience. He was such just a light of a person, and he had
I didn't know him.
You didn't know him?
No.
He had connected with so many folks over in his career.
Yeah.
And they just all came out, to not only celebrate him, but we did some fundraisers and things like that to raise some money for the family, and it was just amazing. Ray Morant came out with his band, it was amazing.
Yeah. It's cool. And that was
so
how it was born.
Yeah, I'm trying to get he died in 2009. I made some notes here because I'm terrible with the dates.
Allowed. Yeah, notes are allowed.
Oh, cool. Thank God. I'm not breaking any rules
yet.
yet.
No, there are no rules.
So we lost Steve in 2009, March, and then we decided, he would certainly want us to keep playing, and so during that process where we were having the fundraisers, we connected with Bruce McPherson, who's a fantastic keyboard player, had been playing with like Thunder Road and a number of bands around here. And we knew him from that, and then also Remo Capella was a bass player from the New Haven area. Anyways, we put the band back together, and we said, hey, well, let's keep doing it, but raise the bar musically, try to do some challenging music, and really, we're really all about the arrangements and really rehearsing the vocal parts and getting all that stuff right. Bruce is a real techie, so he recorded all the shows, multi-track, and then Bill had some video gear, and we started making videos, and this is sort of at the dawn of the whole Facebook thing.
Gotcha.
And we started posting Facebook posts, and that sort of raised some awareness about the band.
Yeah,
and
right,
we started getting people coming out to see us, and it was like, wow, this is great.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah, next thing you know, we had some good shows. Mohegan started inviting us to play up there, and that was great for us. That was a big upgrade.
Yeah,
and a bunch of outdoor shows. We like to play those summertime outdoor shows because none of us like to stay up late.
Right. Yeah, I hear that.
So yeah, that's the band thing.
So it was just like be as good as you can be, like just be better.
Yeah. I think the band was together.
Be best. Maybe.
I don't know. It's sort of like just rehearse till we were satisfied. I think and we loved to rehearse. Bill had set up a situation at his home where he had a studio where all the gear was there, and he and his wife would take great care of us. We'd go over and have dinner and then rehearse, and so we had a great time. There was a lot of fun to just rehearse, because of that, and it
sounds like the opposite of every band I've ever been in. Like it's no fun. No one eats. We don't want to be there. We don't.
I don't know why everyone feels rehearsals are so painful. I don't. But
right.
It does seem to be that way.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So how many people from the original? Did you? It can just completely.
Oh yeah. So I left out Joe Santucci, who's our drummer.
Okay.
And then Bill Wilson singing, myself on guitar, and then now we have Bruce and Remo.
Okay.
Bruce on keyboards, Remo on bass.
And everybody sings, or most of them?
Most of us sing. Yeah.
Cool.
Bruce doesn't sing, but the rest of us sing. So yeah, we spend a lot of time with the vocal harmonies and that kind of thing. Yeah, it's fun.
And that's kind of your, well, I guess. What would you say your calling card as the band is just general quality overall, or vocals, the whole thing? I think we tried. We pick out songs that we really like that are kind of bucket list songs, you know. And we just work really hard at them because we love them so much. We want to honor them. Right,
We've all been out there and hacked through All Right Now a million times, right?
Yeah.
And so this is Get Blinded by the Light by Manfred Mann and Take It Apart Little Piece by Piece, and because we love that song, and it's Carnival 9, that's on our list, we'd say. Bruce is a fantastic keyboard player, and he just pegs all those parts, and so
things that are not as likely from your typical. That's
actually,
right?
that's sort of how we build a band. And thanks for mentioning that. That should be on the tip of my tongue. It's songs that are well known but not frequently played.
Sure.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a cool concept.
It's a little niche.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, I had a band like that for a while. Yeah, we just stumbled on that, and people were like, "Man, no one plays that song," and that was our thing. Let's play songs that no one plays.
Right. Yeah, and
for a while.
I don't know. There's this propensity for musicians to always play quote the hits, and just nail down because I guess we're all insecure creatures, right? And we want people to like us.
Sure.
And so we play the stuff that we think everybody wants to hear.
Yeah.
But the irony is, if you play a song that makes you happy and you're in love with your moment, people connect with that.
I agree. Yep.
And
Yeah, and you guys, well, actually, Carnival's pretty far out, but it's not like you're gonna just to satisfy yourself play something that's gonna completely turn the whole audience off.
Yeah, I mean, like everything, there's like a balancing act there. It's a continuum. You got to find the sweet spot, I guess.
Yeah.
And by the way, we argue like brothers over every song.
Oh, really?
Every song has been through the mill. And total pain involved in there. It's like giving birth. Every time we add another song to the list, it's
well, that's cool though. I mean, it leads to a quality. I don't want to say product, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's a curation process.
You're not just banging them out like most people.
Right. Yeah.
I used to have this thing. I guess it doesn't matter so much now. But the period when I was playing a lot of clubs, everybody, you would get to that point where you were like, we have to play Mustang Sally or else we're not going to go over. And I was like, at the point where I'm just like, you do realize that the audience does not know Wilson Pickett. They don't even know the Commitments at this point. Right. The only reason they know this song is that every band plays it. And if we started some kind of coalition and decided that no band was going to play that for a year, right. It would just disappear. It would just evaporate. Because the only reason that people know it is because the last band played it. And I'm just like, let's just stop playing it.
Right.
And I would be in bands that were like, we can't. And I was like, yeah, you can. Just stop playing it. I don't know. That was a while back. I don't know what the song is now. I was trying to, but I was like, we can't. I can't even get the guys I'm playing with to agree not to play it, let alone a union of all. But I thought if we all in the tri-state area just got it together and stopped playing it, people would just forget. They wouldn't even remember it because they're not like.
I know. You're absolutely right about that.
It's just something that happens.
It's like we're our own worst enemies with it. Yeah. So funny story. I was in. This is like back in the 90s. I was down in Disneyland actually with some work people.
Yeah.
Just a trade show thing down there, and we went to that. What's it called? Paradise Island or something, where there's some clubs or something like that. Yeah. There's some nightclubs, and there's like a BB King's or
not Epstein's Island. That's a whole other thing. All right, never mind. Yeah. No.
So anyways, this blues club, we go into this blues club, fantastic band. They're from in New York City, and they're just totally had the grit, and they were so awesome. And, we were well lubricated at this point in the day and night. And the guys came up the stage, and we got to chat, and I mentioned I'd play. And he goes, oh, you should come up. You should come up. And of course, I'm all lit up and feeling like, oh, yeah, I could play anything now. Yeah. What do you want to play? I said, somebody in my crew said, Mustang Sally.
Oh, no.
And the guy just turned around. He walked away. He's like, this is not happening.
I didn't come all this way. Yeah. I remember the first time, it was probably the 90s, 93, 94, 95 or something. The first time I ever went to New Orleans. I mean, I've only been twice, but, in my mind, I had a gig down there and staying on, right off Bourbon Street. And I thought, okay, here we go. Like I'm going to cruise Bourbon Street and I'm going to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to understand this music and it's going to be great. And I walked up and down Bourbon Street and all I heard was Mustang Sally coming out of every bar.
I know, it's horrible. You got to go to Frenchman Street, of course. Yeah,
I'm sure. Yeah. I don't remember where I ended up, but actually at the time we were right outside of Jackson Square and there was a Pass the Hat band that played every afternoon that were great. And I started talking to them, and they told me where to go.
Yeah.
So we went like a little bit off, and then I was like, okay. But you're in there. I just realized, well, you're a tourist, so
that's where you go, and that's the exact same experience I had.
Mustang Sally, it's great to be here in Singapore. I finally made it.
Right after Brick House, right? Yeah. It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
So New Orleans story. I remember going to, I think it's called La Maison, or it's a club on Frenchman Street.
Okay.
Saw this fantastic band called a Stevens Pocket or something like that. Yeah. And these guys were fantastic. And AJ Hall was playing drums. AJ Hall from John Cleary's band.
Yeah.
So I didn't know him at the time, but man, he just knocked my socks off. I have video of him on my phone because he was just so fantastic. Yeah. And then like the next year, John Cleary had hired him as his main
guy. You're
guy.
like, well, that figures.
He's so fantastic.
That's funny. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Well, let's go back just a little bit, in case we don't cover it. So where you grew up where?
Grew up in Windsor. Okay. Played drums all through high school. Actually, marching band was my thing. Cool. I was a fife and drum corps guy. Wow. Yeah, I had my cool. Cooperman snare drum and sticks. And
that's cool.
Yeah, it was fun. I think every musician should play in a fife and drum corps. Yeah.
Why?
Something about marching miles and miles and miles in the hot sun makes you slow down your tempo and totally appreciate the syncopation.
I bet
that drives the people forward, and you feel like you're driving this army of people.
I see.
And there's something about that syncopation against walking. So you're taking your steps and those beats lay down so heavy on the downbeat. It's cool and
so you understood this is what it's actually does. What it's for.
Well, you start to appreciate the backside of the beat. And that's why I love your playing, because I always feel like you're like that guy. You play in that space and
not always. Sometimes, yeah. Wow. Yeah, I never had that experience. Jeff Brown.
Jeff?
Yeah, he's way into that. We talk about that all the time. He goes to musters and stuff. He's totally
we
into
nerded out on that at one of McElhoney's.
Right. That's right. Of course.
Drum parties. Yeah. He let me in the back door.
Yeah, not the drummer door.
Seriously, I can do some paradiddles. Let me in.
Yeah. I didn't even know, or else I wouldn't have been what's he doing here? Why is there a guitar player here? That's funny. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
So cool. Yeah, and then jazz band, and then picked up the guitar in high school.
Oh, wow.
And then kind of went from there.
Why drums in the first place? Who knows?
Little kid just had a snare drum I think I got for Christmas, that kind of thing, and just kind of fell
and went the
it.
rudimental route.
Yeah, I remember seeing actually the Portland Drum Corps.
Hey.
Did an exposition for Windsor, where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember sitting there in the audience watching this corps and just tears rolling down my face, just it was so much. This is it. This is it. I wanted this so bad.
Hey, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
All started right here in Portland.
Hey.
Little orange coats. I don't know
if they're still around. You think they are?
I bet they are.
You think so?
They are, yeah. They were usually a pretty healthy corps. Of course, it's been a while.
Hey, that's cool. That's cool. And do you hit the skins at all anymore? Or no, not really.
I have a little electronic kit that I'll when I do recording and write crappy songs. I can do my own drum parts. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. So you had good teachers then back then? You go through public school?
Yeah, but again, most of what I learned was in the fife and drum corps. Yeah. Jim Clark was our drum instructor.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, probably because Jeff probably shared that with you.
Yeah.
And fantastic drummer, and I think he still plays with one of the premier corps around here, the Patriots.
Jeff. Yeah. So he's the guy for that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm not an expert, but he was for me. I felt lucky,
That's cool.
Yeah.
So when did guitar happen? Somewhere in there.
Yeah. So guitar happened. Of course, you're listening to records, and for me, I just had to get attached to a guitar, and and that's formed a band, a 3-piece band called Sam Sarah, and we played all the Rush stuff and all the boy rock, Johnny Winter and The Who and all of that stuff was boy rock.
Sure.
And we played hard and did some recording over at Nickel Recording Studio. I remember Nickel it was downtown Hartford.
Okay.
Yeah, ask Chappie about it.
All right. He knows
about that. And then after high school, we went our separate ways. We just lost Chris, our drummer, to cancer this year in March. It's really terrible. But a fantastic drummer. He played with the band Destiny. That was Dana Raffi from Rocky Hill area. And he was great drummer. And he was in Rich Magnuson, played bass.
Okay. That's cool.
And then whole series of bands after that. I have to refer to notes at this point. It's you go through these phases where and it was Destiny, a band called Jet. I played in a Full House was a Jay Giles tribute band, and I got to play at Toads. I was 18 years old, and that was a big deal.
Of course,
back then. Those guys hated me.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I think they were older guys, and they were real blues guys, and there was a certain thing, and I was the young kid that with the pointy guitar.
Oh, okay. All right.
And that wasn't
So
cool.
you're a little
And I
too-
said,
yeah.
Jake Giles has a pointy guitar. And so I got the
but they're
gig.
like, but not until freeze frame.
Yeah,
So, you know,
right,
that's-
you're right, exactly. So, anyways, so that didn't last very long, and then a bunch of other bands. In my college days, I went to Central for a little while, and I had a 3-piece band called the Regulars that played in the Hartford area for a while, and in the 80s, in the late 80s. That was Paul Terrio. He played bass. He was in like Joined Forces and Jimmy Bell's band at the time, and DeLacy Boulevard was another big heavy rock band back in. It played at David's Cafe and Rocking Horse and Carrie Nations and those places.
Funny.
Yeah, he got that band together. We had an 808 drum machine. We were
Where is it now?
in the garbage can.
Oh,
Yeah. And well, at the time, we thought it was amazing that 2 guys could go out and make noise with a backbeat.
right.
And you could make some money.
Yeah.
And
It happens.
so, yeah, that's kind of where we were at in life, you know.
Yeah.
And
Well, you
so-
remember Dancing with Henry never had a drummer. They had a drum
Right,
machine. the whole
right,
time. Yeah.
exactly. Until they got you for the
Well,
for the big reunion
Yeah,
gig,
yeah, yeah.
right?
And then they remember why they had a machine in the first place. They're like,
Right,
it doesn't
right.
talk back. It isn't late or what. whatever.
Right.
Well, you know the joke. What's the difference between a drummer and a drum machine? You only have to punch the rhythm into the drum machine once. You know what I mean? That's what they say.
Actually, related story. So Mike DeLisa, who
Right.
was the lead singer
Yeah.
and bass player for Dancing with Henry's, he's the one that got me to move back up to West Hartford. I lived down in New York for a little while.
Okay.
And he got me to move back up to West Hartford, or should I say he encouraged me. He offered me a job at a multimedia company he had started. And, we became fast friends,
Yeah,
fantastic guy. And I wound up moving onto his street.
Oh, hey.
And he had a little recording studio in his basement.
Yeah.
And so we hung out, and just fantastic human being.
Yeah.
And anyways, we wound up starting a band called the Henrys. And it was him and Dave Costa
Yeah.
on guitar and keyboards, and Charlie Fisher
Right.
playing guitar, and I played drums on that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's
that was,
funny.
Yeah, it was fun.
funny. Yeah.
And we did that just for a short period of time.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
there was, I don't know.
Small
what happened.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did the singing start with you?
Sort of right away, because back, in high school, so I took that role in that 3-piece band, and
Yeah.
and it's funny how sometimes just opportunity tends to shape people, and I never would have thought of myself as a singer, except for that I just somebody needed to pick up that ball, and so
Yeah. Right.
and that turned into a thing, and
Yeah.
it's been fun. What's kind of fun about being able to sing and play guitar is you get to do lots of different gigs, like solo gigs.
Right.
And I do a duo gig with the drummer in Last Licks, Joe Santucci. He and I do a duo thing now, and play over at Crystal Ridge Winery and Rooftop 120 over in Glastonbury and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's nice to mix up the gigs to play different kinds of music.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's killer. Killer. So you're just kind of playing around, doing your thing.
Yeah.
Anything you want to in between Last Licks and whatever that you're missing?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, lots. I'm like looking at my list here.
Yeah.
Played in when I was in school, needed to make money and still wanted to play music. I was afforded an opportunity to go sit in with a band called Bales Gitlin. They're a black tie, GB band down in New Haven area. The one of the band leaders, Jay Gitlin, is a fantastic piano player. All the musicians in this band were like top shelf jazzers, like old school jazzers. And he is a professor at Yale, so connected with a lot of great opportunities down there. So
cool.
Always played really top shelf gigs. And so I got involved in that and learned so much from those guys. Because I was relatively musically uneducated rocker guy, trying to learn how to play my instrument by listening to Ted Nugent.
Right. Yeah, you got the pointy guitar.
And the pointy guitar. And, so I learned quite a bit from them. And,
that's cool.
Yeah, and just learned how to be a listener.
Right.
And so much about maturing as a musician is learning how to not play your instrument, but play the song with the people you're with, and listen to them, and listen to what your music you're making together, not your own sound.
Yeah.
So
I always think about that, or I try to help students sometimes if they understand that the hardest part is not only hearing what you sound like when you're playing, because that's step one, because a lot of times you don't sound like what you think you do, and then for me, like when I play a gig, the hardest part is I'm just trying to put my ears out and go, what does this whole thing sound like, and what is my role in it? Like you said,
exactly,
that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
And that's hard. It's hard work.
It is hard work because you're trying to hold it together, your own parts and everything, and to go outside of yourself and listen. It's an art in itself, I think. It should be taught in school, in music school and all that. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, I don't know.
So before I forget, I know you're a big Cheap Trick fan, and so am I. And anyways, I had this fun experience when I was in that band, the Regulars. We were playing at the Rocking Horse.
Is this
upstairs.
the Robin? Is this the story?
The Robin Zander story?
Right,
yeah,
okay.
So it's just.
I don't remember the story, so this is good.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's a short story, really. We were just playing a regular old Friday night, and up on the stage was in the back, in that little area.
Where is this?
The Rocking Horse. Oh, sorry, not the Rocking Horse. Russian Lady, rather.
Oh, right. Okay.
Russian Lady.
Right. Now I remember.
And Ann Street in Hartford.
Yeah, up the
3 flights of stairs. Yeah, and oh man, the bass bins.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I wonder how many poor bastards were schlepping B3s up and down those stairs. Like, why didn't they just buy one?
I don't know.
Anyways.
Yeah. And we did it.
Yeah. Oh, and we did it.
Yeah.
For our $80, whatever.
Yeah.
So third set, Robin shows up. This is before. Whoa. This is before The Flame came out. So they were in the doldrums there, commercially speaking. They had played at UConn. Wow. And he was hanging out with a girl that I had dated, and she just brought him to see the band. And I naturally, I walked right over to him and said, "Will you please come up and sing?" And he came up and did a few tunes with us. Wow. And it was so fantastic.
Jeez.
Yeah, I got it on cassette too. It's
wow.
It's a typical board mix where the hi-hat goes.
Yeah, because it's on the vocal. Yeah, vocal effects are leaking into this thing. Wow, that must be exciting.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun experience. He was feeling no pain, and so he was in that mode.
So he was into it. Did anybody care? Were they like, "Hey, this is cheap"? Did you say anything?
Yeah, of course. We made a big deal out of it, but again, it was sort of like this weird doldrum time, but he was as cool as you can imagine. Wow. And the thing that my big takeaway was just the sound of his voice and the delivery was everything that you would hope it would be. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was powerful and that very distinct, you may totally overemphasized syllables and stuff. It's just so fantastic.
That's crazy. Yeah, he's one of my heroes.
Oh yeah, me too.
Wow. And he was just cool. He just kind of.
He was just cool. Yeah.
And did the crowd react?
Yeah, I mean they liked it, and actually he came back up and did another song, and then sadly I broke up a guitar string, and
oh boy,
I had to slog through that last tune. But
that's cool.
I remember he was complaining because we did "Ain't That a Shame," his version, the Cheap Trick version of it, and he sounded irritated. He goes, "These guys stole our version, man," and I'm like. I felt almost like honored that he would say that, you know what I mean? So cool.
You're like, well, we did. We actually did. Yes,
We
did.
stole your version.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's killer. Yeah, that's cool. That would be a thrill. That would be a big thrill. Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had that experience. I mean, I'm a big fan. There was a point where, in the 90s, I was kind of not following them around, but they played like a bunch of times, and I was there. You know, they played at Tuxedo Junction. They played at Oakdale.
Really?
Whatever. And I would kind of like finagle my way backstage each time, and I actually got to the point where Robin Zander was like, "So how you been?" You know, like he recognized me.
Wow, that's
like,
awesome.
What's going on? Yeah, just for that brief moment, we're kind of hanging out.
Yeah. So how many times have you seen him, you think?
I don't know. I actually made a list one time.
You're a list maker.
Yeah. I you know what? I would say probably close to 20. I would think not more than that, though.
Okay.
And it just so happened, you know,
Yeah.
like I would just kind of hit it, trying to think.
Right.
I mean, I saw him.
You know, it's funny. They play so much, and they wind up playing some interesting gigs where they'll open up for somebody they shouldn't really be opening for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you were to try to match up genres, you know, but they'd always go out and they play a kick-ass show, you were always so happy to see them. And, and they do their thing. They just do their thing.
Yeah, totally. I saw him at Toad's twice when they kind of, you know, they were doing like kind of a push. It was probably, if I had to guess, it was probably around 97. They kind of got their deals were done, and they were kind of almost an indie band again.
Okay.
And they played Toad's twice, and that was wild because you know what it's like when you see a band like that play a room that you know what it sounds like you can just kind of get right up on it and you understand it.
Right.
And they're just great. I was like, yeah, this band is great.
Yeah.
I mean, but Tom Peterson's bass rig was so loud. I mean, you could hear stage volume, and I was just like, wow, this is crazy.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of strings. You know, he's got 12 string or something.
Well, you know what I learned, and if I might be wrong, but you know, Tom Peterson, he had like 3 stacks, you know, because he plays 12-string bass, and then each string goes to a different rig.
Yeah, right.
And it was like a Marshall stack, an orange stack, and something else.
Right.
And it was all him, and you know, Robin Zander had a twin or something, or AC30 or something.
And Robin always had the worst guitar sound. It's like plink, plink, plink.
Yeah. But he had just, you know, like I say, a twin or an AC30. And then this is when I realized finally, like Rick Nielsen had a wall, but it was lights.
It's all lights.
There was
yeah,
nothing
there's 2
in
speakers. It's a Gibson stack.
Right. And then
the white one.
Yeah, and then I looked, and he had a twin off to the side. Or something.
Really?
Yeah, that was it. You know, and I'm just like, so Tom Peterson is all of the state sound. It's all, which was fine.
Yeah.
But it was great. But I mean, those to me, those are the most memorable Cheap Trick shows at Toad's. It was like, wow, okay, yeah, this is
amazing.
Yeah, crazy.
You can only imagine that, like, they've met everybody, they toured with everybody.
Yeah, it's all over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fantastic.
I saw him last time I saw him. Probably not last November, like 2 years ago. We were still in COVID, and I went to Port Chester, and they were great. They were great. I mean, there's just no way to, you know, it's like, I mean, nothing against, I understand how everything works, but everybody's like, you know, Motley Crue's using track, and everybody's using track, and, you know, these old guys have to still go out there, and they have to play the backing tracks in order. And Cheap Trick's like, no, my son's here, like visibly, like Robin Zander's son is on stage, kind of shadowing him maybe a little bit or something, but that's it. Like there's no track. Like they're just playing.
Yeah.
They're still playing, and they're still great.
Well, because the songs are so strong. When your songs are that strong,
right,
and you could pick up an acoustic guitar and just start playing one of those songs. And
right.
All right, favorite Cheap Trick song. I'm gonna hit you with a.
Ooh. Oh man, I couldn't. It's not possible. I can't. My brain freezes up. Yeah. It's not. Off the top of my head, maybe it's not one of their songs, but with one of the first things that springs to mind is "Speak Now, Forever Hold Your Peace" on the first record.
Wow,
that's something that just for me comes to mind, but I don't know. Yours?
It's hard. Hard. I mean,
I know every single song.
Yeah,
there's not a.
For me, one of the one that always hits me is "I Can't Take It," which is
Love
Robin's
that
song. Robin wrote that song.
Great tune.
Of course, voices, you know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. No, yeah. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, we could talk about that forever. So maybe we won't. I even like Lap of Luxury. I even liked the album that had The Flame on it. At the time, it was better than what came before.
Well, was that like Holly Knight was involved in some of that stuff?
Yeah, it was like, they were kind of...
They had some songwriter power behind them.
Yeah.
But that's what everybody was doing back then. That Aerosmith was doing that.
Right.
And, you know, like everybody was doing that.
And I mean, no offense, I don't want to sound like but I would imagine probably the record company's probably like, listen, we have to do something that's going to pay for the last 3 albums that didn't do much. So like, let's just do this, break even, and then move forward.
Yeah.
So I guess that happens.
Yeah.
But like you say, Aerosmith everybody was calling Diane Warren saying, what do you got? Or whatever.
Yeah.
But,
exactly.
But anyway, the best. I saw them. I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame show and saw the last time that they'll ever play with Bun. He was there.
Really?
Yeah, they got inducted and they did like, the last time Bun was there. Yeah.
That's bone chilling.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I love Dax. I love his playing. It's a different band.
Mm-hmm.
I love what he does, but with Bun, there's only one. Well, there's only one Dax too, but there's one Bunny Carlos. There's just one.
Right.
And when you hear it, you're just like,
yeah,
that's the thing. But yeah, I'll never understand it.
Right.
I think I do. There's that. I don't know if you heard the Whiskey box set they released.
What's that?
It's them before Budokan playing the Whiskey in LA, and it's like 4 shows, a box set that I got, and it's unbelievable. I mean, Tom Peterson just playing a Thunderbird, like it's not even a 12-string.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Like you can just hear like, okay, if I walked into a club and heard a band like this, yeah, it's the greatest thing you ever heard. You're just like, these guys are great, and that's all there is to it. We got to stop talking about Cheap Trick.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, cool.
Well, they are a fun subject.
Yeah, no, I could do that forever.
Right. So you and I played a gig together, not too far from here, just right down the road, because it was an outdoor show, right? With Stepping Out.
Right.
Yeah, it was a fill-in gig.
What that was, yeah.
It was a fill-in gig.
Yep.
And
that was a while ago.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
And I remember you had me bring you somewhere. I can't remember. Like you had, like you needed to get something. Like you.
Oh God.
I can't remember what it was, but
it wasn't drugs. Was
no,
it?
no.
It
I don't think it was.
No. Probably. I'm like on this caffeine. Like at 7 o'clock.
Oh,
okay. On when the gig was. I was like, I need.
It was probably that. That sounds more plausible.
Yeah, we went for a ride. Yeah. I probably needed caffeine or something.
Right.
Yeah.
They actually had Greg Raleigh playing down on that same trailer you and I were on. I couldn't believe it. It was like that following year, and I heard it on the radio. Yeah. Greg Raleigh's going to be playing on the Green in Portland, and I'm like,
what?
That can't be.
When?
This was, oh gosh.
Back then?
This was back then, so maybe 15, 20 years ago. Something like that. But oh my God. And he was fantastic. He was Greg Raleigh,
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Well, that's the thing. I'm not like a huge Journey fan, but sometimes you just want to blast out on Facebook that thing. But like, that's my thing is I'm like,
don't forget he was in Santana too.
Right. But my thing is like, Jonathan Cain ruined Journey, changed my mind. You know what I mean? Like that, because I grew up with that Captured album, and I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
Like this is great right here. Yeah. And then again,
Steve Smith, come on.
Yeah.
Shuffle Master generally, right?
Yeah. But I'm sure the record company was like, okay, great. Now we can have hits and pay for all of those albums before. But to me, that Captured era, when I was a kid, when I was that age, I'm like, this is great, because Greg Raleigh, it's a rock thing still.
Yeah, it was raw and simple, and you can hear everybody playing.
Yeah, great stuff.
Right.
Who else? What are some of our other? Go ahead, do your notes. Don't let me derail.
No, I was just trying to hit some stuff. We had done that Steppin' gig together. I played with the Steppin' Out band for a few years. so you know Troy, right?
Yeah.
And was he was the guy that hired you for that gig, right?
Yep.
And do you know Gene Tortorizzi? He played drums with that band for many years.
I don't think so.
Fantastic drummer.
Yeah.
And and he and you know Doug Jones, right? Sax on sax and just they're a great band too.
Yeah.
They were around till I think they're starting to wind it down.
Yeah.
But got to play with them for quite a few years doing the GB thing.
Yeah.
You know?
For our non-musical, GB is general business.
Yeah, general business.
Meaning weddings and nice music, I guess, or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
like,
whatever. Call it what you want.
Yeah.
You know,
just in case anyone doesn't know when we say GB.
GB, right.
What's the opposite of GB? What would we call it?
Yeah, what would you call it?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll come up with it.
Freaking loud.
Yeah, or something.
Or I don't know.
Yeah. None of your business.
None of
music or something. Or I don't know.
It's all about me music.
Yeah,
you know, it's not about you.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're just feeling a little more secure about ourselves and our song choices.
Right.
And we're not going to play Mustang Sally.
Right. Yeah, totally.
Which we did play in Stepping Out.
Sure. Well, you know, yeah. But those were I wonder if bands still play that now. If it's over. I wonder if it's over.
It might be. I don't know.
We've entered the Don't Stop Believin' phase.
Well, that's right.
The new Mustang Sally.
Yeah. I mean, when I play solo, people request that.
Yeah.
You know, and it goes over. You know, like I'll just bark it out and they'll love it. Whatever. I just want people to be happy.
Sure. Yeah, at this point, you might as well.
But that's an interesting question. You're like, well, how do you sort of figure out how to balance making you happy versus what you think like makes them happy, and where's the sweet spot with all of that?
I don't know. You guys seem like you're doing it, right?
At the moment, yeah, we're at the moment. I mean, again, not without some pain, but yeah, I guess you're right. But but it is tricky, right? You wouldn't want to show up to a wedding and hear Carnival 9,
right,
either,
right.
or Kashmir, or like.
Well, yeah, but you guys are like a show band, like you're doing a show.
Yeah, it's more like a show thing. Although somebody somebody pinged us to play at their house in September. Like, are you sure?
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, I love them for being a rocker, you know.
Yeah. Well, like you say, we're there, you know. I feel like everything exists. Like everything is here all at the same time. Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but like, you know, you guys can exist doing kind of what you want to do because there's enough of, I don't want to say us, but you know, older people that are like, we want you to do your thing. Like do your thing.
Yeah. I think it's just keeping in touch with those people because it's not like they're going out to clubs like they used to kind of thing.
Right. Well, I guess that's what I'm saying is now you can create your thing. You can create your audience.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you're right. Cool. I mean, with social media and stuff, it definitely helps, you know, kind of create a little bit of a following and stay in touch with people so they know when you're playing and just the logistical stuff. Name
some of your other... Go through some of your set lists just so we know what to expect.
Oh, geez, you know, like, so we would open up with like the Babies, like a Babies tune.
Wow.
We would play Jet by Paul McCartney and Head East. Say My Love, I'm going down for the last time. Never Been Any Reason.
Wow.
Yeah. And then we'll do Under Pressure. And you know, Paletta Zepp tune, you know, like Kashmir, Misty Mountain Hop or something like that. Yeah. So it's pretty broad range of stuff. We try to get a little Bowie in there, you know, man, it's very eclectic.
You doing any Cheap Trick tunes?
Of course.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, we do Dream Police and we used to do I Can't Take It, but I think we haven't played that in a while.
Yeah.
And you know, Surrender and some of those tunes, you know, those are fun go-tos.
Yep. That's cool. Where's your now? You plug your gigs.
Oh,
you have a few coming.
Yeah. I should probably look it up. But no, we've got a gig coming up. I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah.
We are playing at. Wait for it.
Done.
The Berlin Fair. Wait, no, that's September.
Oh boy.
Hold on a second. Let's see. Hold on. So the next gig is.
Look on your Facebook page. That's where.
That's where I need to go. It's lastlicksonline.com.
Hey.
And we've got a link there called Next Show.
Yeah.
But we're actually playing a show at the Elks. And you're going to ask me what Elks? I don't even know what town that's in.
Okay. Oh, great. Nice talking to you.
Yeah, exactly. You can see I am not in charge of marketing.
That's fine. That's all right. Well,
Yeah.
I just figured.
But we have a show at Mohegan August 10th. That's and
those are fun.
Those are fun. You know why? Just because the room sounds good to us, and it's just the monitors always sound good and everything.
Yeah.
So that's
it's a pro.
Yeah,
it's a pro show.
It's a pro show.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Had a cool experience last week. So there's a gentleman named Rob Freed down from the Fairfield area who has a wonderful organization called Band Central that puts on music shows of different varieties that usually host them either at Fairfield Theater Company and other like small but like nice concert venues down in that area. And so he did a show last week with some of his buddies from high school, but he invited Joe Bouchard from Blue Oyster Cult.
Who's been here?
Oh, he's been here too. Also, awesome.
Yeah.
What a nice guy. And he came with his partner Joan Hepburn, who plays guitar.
Right.
And they have a band. And that they just started, and Mickey Curry's playing drums.
That's right.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, I've been trying to get him here. I've been trying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's a Connecticut guy, right?
He's a Connecticut guy. Yeah, great. One of my heroes.
Oh my gosh.
Great
Forget it.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. That I'm gonna try and make that happen one of these days. He's on the list for sure. He doesn't know me, but I would love to because, Mickey Curry. Yeah, it's crazy.
Exactly.
Is there anything? I have wrap-up questions. We're getting close. I just want to make sure there's anything that you want to touch on that you did not before.
Now that I blew the band, the one opportunity to pitch the band.
Yeah,
gigs,
you'll never work in this town.
I know that they're going to be looking for a new guitar player next week. Just I had the honor to play with Tire Biter. Couple summers ago, fantastic guys. After Gary Goodman got sick, they brought in Martin Piggott, who played guitar for them for a while, and then he took a little break, and I got to fill in for a summer with them, and that was a really great experience. Cool. Those guys are just great musicians and just the nicest guys ever, and geez, I've been doing this thing for a long time.
That's for sure.
Yeah. So shout out to those guys.
Yeah, definitely. All right, you ready for the wrap up weird questions?
All right, the weird questions.
Well, I don't know. They're not that weird. Are you a consistent practicer of your instrument?
Yeah, I definitely am. With all of the TikTok stuff and the YouTube stuff, and there's all these fantastic players out there. Yeah. And every time I pick up my freaking phone, I see some 14-year-old kid that just blows my doors in. I gotta do this. And I'm like, I have to learn how to do this. So I'll do that once in a while just to make myself miserable. and then of course there's a lot of learning new tunes and trying to learn new styles and stuff like that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's nice. You don't practice drums anymore ever?
No, not really. I went at McElhoney's house on his bar. He keeps a pad there, and I pick up this thing.
That's funny. All right, cool. desert island albums, a few that you would take with you.
A few.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, a no-brainer album would be Asia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
I don't know. Does everybody say that?
No.
No?
Yeah.
I mean, Asia's
Sure.
bone-chilling for me still. Hemispheres by Rush.
Agreed.
That's a big one.
And you want to know what? You want to know how weird I am?
What?
To me, that's the last Rush album.
Oh, really?
I didn't like
Moving
the term.
Pictures?
Nope.
Huh.
I mean, sure, but
Yeah.
But
Hemispheres was
I didn't get
more of an impression.
Signals. I was kind of like, and that's when I left. And now when I go back and reassess the whole thing, I just realize that Hemispheres is where it ends.
Right.
But yeah, I do. I love Hemispheres. That's my favorite.
One more might be like in the 80s, or sorry, the 90s, JT came out with a live album. It's the one with Shed a Little Light on
the double live album with Carlos Vega.
Oh, yeah.
Great record.
I love that
agree.
record so much. I mean, that's just like comfort food for me. I just put that on. I just feel better.
Yeah, that would be, I remember thinking at the time, I would listen to that and I would go, this is the ultimate gig. Like, this would be a great gig.
Yeah.
You know,
well, that's why all the great drummers play, like Gatson, and they've all been on it, right?
Yeah, that is a great record. Yeah, every song on that, every performance, it's all good.
Yep.
Yep, I agree. Yep. Wow.
Yep.
That's wild. Desert island food.
So I'm on an island, like with water, and I can look up.
Know.
Yeah.
No,
well, I would say fish tacos.
Yeah,
if
right.
I can fish tacos if I'm on an island, maybe with an IPA beer.
Yeah. There you go. But what could you eat every day?
Geez.
If you weren't on the island.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I eat everything. That's my problem, John.
Yeah.
I'm a pig and I just eat everything.
All right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Was there any particular show that you remember seeing, a concert that you saw that blew your mind, that set you on a path?
Yeah. I mean, I'm, of course, I would say, I don't know, there's so many, right?
Yeah.
That just.
Well, you don't have to name just one. I'm just curious.
Yeah, to get going. So I saw Rush on the Hemispheres tour, and that was a big thing for me. That was in high school, so that was like big impression.
Sure.
And then I also saw Kiss back then, so I was a Kiss fan when I was a kid. I loved them.
Sure.
Let's see. Excuse me. So I'm gonna go with just so many Bonnie Raitt. Like I'm a huge Bonnie Raitt fan.
Yeah.
And her stuff just slays me, and yeah.
For sure. No, I hear you. It's hard to say.
Yeah, so I've seen her play a dozen times, and then through that, I saw John Cleary because he toured with her one time. I remember one of my favorite shows I ever went to. I was working at this music software company down in Westchester, New York, called Boyetra.
Okay.
And I was on my way back up to Hartford, and I heard Bonnie was playing at the Oakdale, so I just made a beeline right there.
Yeah.
And I bought myself a pretzel and a beer, and I won ticket, and I sat like 10 rows back in front of the stage. And John Cleary came out first. I'd never seen them. John Cleary and the Absolute Monster Gentlemen is the name of the band. And just knocked my socks off. And then he played with her. He was doing the keyboards.
When was this?
This is late 90s, so I was actually 98 or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was the big Oakdale, not the tent.
Big Oakdale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not the dome.
Not the dome, yeah.
You remember the dome?
Oh yeah, the most uncomfortable seats imaginable.
Yeah.
Like you remember they were those like those little director chairs almost.
Yeah.
And you had to sit up like this.
Yeah.
And I saw it and got to meet Huey Lewis there. That was kind of fun. Those cool guys. I was doing some recording at John Russell's.
Really underrated band. For some reason, I got into YouTube, kind of spiral, and I was watching. At some point, you're just like, I can't believe I'm watching a Huey Lewis concert from. That band is smoking though. That drummer's. I like it. Kind of at the time, you take it for granted.
Yeah.
And now I look at it and I'm like, wait a minute, this guy. And he's still playing with them.
Oh really?
When they're playing that drummer. But I'm just like, these guys are great.
They're fantastic. So tight. So just well rehearsed. They're squeaky clean, all the arrangements, and really nice guys too. I got to, that It's All Right. Have a good time. They did an a cappella version of that. They did it at John Russell's studio down in at the time it was Branford, Presence Studios. Right. And anyways, we got to hang out for the session that whole day because Sean, the keyboard player, his Mini Moog blew up. Oh, John rented him one, so we got to hang out with him the whole day, and we got to go to the show and everything. That was fun. Cool. But that drummer, his name escapes me right now.
Bill Gibson.
He says he replaces the heads on all the drums every show. I'm like, really? Every show?
Wow.
Like, do you need to do that? Like, that sounds like a lot of work for your tech.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never.
Not to mention a lot of money, right? What?
Yeah, one would think.
I mean, I don't know. But
I'm not.
Maybe he gives them away too.
Yeah, or if you get an endorsement, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Fantastic.
But yeah, underrated band. That's like one of those bands you think, oh yeah, they're all right. I'm sure there's a lot of other, when I get older, I'll discover, and you're like, no, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like it was, right, it's kind of killer. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. All right. Well, no, I mean, we got a little bit of time. What else?
Oh, yeah, cool. All right.
What are some of my weird questions? I don't remember. Did I forget one? I think I got most of them. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so let's talk about the process of choosing songs in a band.
Yeah.
Because isn't that always sort of like a sticky subject? And how do you deal with that in different situations?
Well, it's been a while. For me, the last band that I had that's similar to your thing, we were all pals and we were all different. And my thing was like for that while when we were having fun all the time, it was like, even if I didn't like the song, if the other person was enthusiastic enough about doing it, I would want to make them happy and just be like, okay, if you're into it, then I know at least, but there isn't, like, you don't want to do something that no one wants to do.
Right.
So it's just kind of like, all right, you know what? I know that your enthusiasm will carry it. So you're like, all right, yeah, cool. I see what you're saying. Let's do it. That was how we.
Sure, however, we'll do Hocus Pocus by Focus, and
that was on the list. Yeah, no, I would do. Do you guys do that?
We're talking about it. Actually,
man. Yeah. That's kind of crazy because I got obsessed with that song and I started listening to it. I'm listening to live versions. That band is really good. They don't play it the same way every time. Like they're like a real band.
I noticed
that.
Like
I thought, it's like a gimmicky thing. I'm like, no, they're a real smoking band.
It's a jam. It's hard to get your head around the yodeling thing.
Yeah. But once you get past that, it's all good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a serious jam. I mean, and you can only imagine how loud it was on that stage when they're like, because doesn't it sound loud?
The whole thing. The whole thing. I was watching something from whenever that song, I don't know when that song came out, like 1970 or something, but there was like old footage of them playing it, and I could swear that guitar player was sweep picking.
Yeah,
like he was shredding.
Yeah,
and I'm like, you could do that then?
Right.
You know? It was kind of crazy.
I know. So there's a lot of talent in that band.
Yeah, it's insane.
Were they from like Denmark or something like that?
I just read. I think it's Seymour Stein. It was Sire Records signed them. I think that was like their first thing. And they were from Denmark.
Right.
Something like that. Crazy.
Yeah. So picking out songs like I mentioned, like the Last Licks guys we're always torturing ourselves. But even when I go out for like a solo thing, it's so hard or with our duo with Joe, it's so hard to look at a group of people even on the fly. Like at this point, I know a lot of songs. I can play a lot of songs, and I'll play them, but I have to guess what it is that you like.
Right.
Right. And you're looking at 50, 100 people in a little club lounge situation, and you're like,
yeah, it gets tougher.
Yeah.
That's tough to do.
And then as a band, you have to come to a consensus what you all think they like.
Yeah, right. Well, in a way, I mean, now that we're all kind of over it and realize we're not going to be rock stars or whatever, that is kind of your job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's
You're the curator.
right.
Right.
And the bar or whoever the club is just like, I don't know, you figure it out. You know,
Right.
like you say, if you went in and just did hocus pocus.
See, I think you should sell your services as a curator because you're so dialed into all the music that's out there and have studied it so well.
Maybe. I don't know
And
about
made
that.
your lists and everything, like you could sell them.
Wow. Hey, you know what?
This is
Hey.
another opportunity.
Hey, man, thanks. Cool. You know what? Maybe I'll do that. You hear
John Peckman's stamp of
that?
approval
Yeah, I'll tell you
set
what to do.
list.
I don't know about that, though.
We can advertise it, tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about that. You might be surprised. All right. You know what? Let's get out of here. Are you cool?
I'm
with
cool.
that?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to press the
Thanks,
button.
man. It was fun.
Of course. Yeah. I'm glad you're here. Yeah. You were on the list. And then sometimes I forget. And then I'm like, when I saw the Facebook post, I was like, oh, yeah. Let's do that.
Get that knucklehead.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're all knuckleheads. All right. Gray Fowler was here. John Peckman Podcast. You hear all that? John Peckman Podcast. Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. My wheels just came off. All right. The caffeine just wore off. All right. Hey, have your own podcast. Pull a Yui, park in the street, tuck in your shirt, and Gray Fowler was here. Thanks for being here. All right. Take it easy. That is all.
Peace.
If you'd like to start your own podcast, give us a call at Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Our professionally designed podcast space is here for all your recording needs. Rent out our studio to do interviews with up to 4 people, to record audiobooks, social media content, and all other recorded material. Our rentals include a private studio along with our professional-grade podcasting equipment, and we can customize your output to whatever your needs are. We also have green screen capabilities, which will expand to video capability if you so wish. So check us out here at convalley.net/podcast.